Welcome to the video podcast that we are hosting today. I am Chloe Erdis, and this is my lovely guest, my mom, Kelly Erdis. The content of today's episode might be a little uncomfortable for some viewers, but it's an important content topic to be talking about, especially with the media today and a lot of the themes we're seeing in the media today. So I'm just going to jump right in here, and we're going to get started on what is teen dating violence and how is the media impacting it? Teen dating violence it's like any sort of dating violence, but specifically it's in adolescents, usually ages 13 to 19 is the category it falls into. There's been lots of studies conducted on it, and we're seeing more teen dating violence than we used to, or maybe it's just we're focusing on it more than we used to. But a study was conducted by Lindsay A. Robertson, Helen M. McAnally, and Robert J. Hancox. I apologize if I've mispronounced any of those. But they did a study on children who watch television and how it ends up impacting them as adults. And their study found that the more time children spent watching television growing up was significantly associated with having a criminal conviction, a violent conviction, and a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder by early adulthood. And they found that boys were more susceptible to this than girls. So another study conducted by Michelle L. Ibarra and Jennifer she's got a long last name, Langhenriksen-Roland. Don't know if I said that right. They looked at teens specifically with media and found similar results in their study, and they say that given that youth involved in teen dating abuse are more likely to be involved in violent adult relationships, effective prevention and intervention programs that begin early and follow youth as they age into dating behaviors are critical. But I don't see a lot of that today. Like when I was in school, we had sex ed, and that was about it. I'm Gen Z, you're Gen X. What did you see, like, in your generation when you were when you were in high school and a teenager, and did you see teen dating violence? Was it something you guys talked about? Was it something that didn't really exist? Like, what's your...
Oh, I think it existed, but we didn't really talk about it. We didn't have any classes that talked about it. But sure, it existed. I never felt like it came from the things or on TV or media things for my generation, because we didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Our video games didn't contain violence, graphic violence. We had Pong and Pac-Man and those kind of video games growing up. If you wanted to view violence on TV, I guess you'd had to pay for it, like HBO and Showtime. Those were pay channels. So I don't feel like that was necessarily the driver for it. I feel like more in my generation, the driver for it would have been environments at home.
Samantha Highfill explores the evolution of teen television in an article for Entertainment Weekly, and she states the first notable teen television show that thrived was on Fox, and it was Beverly Hills 90210, which kind of sparked the movement and the shift into the teen television stick, Then the WB, Warner Brothers, they also were a big curator of the genre, and they aired shows that more like Shelby, being a 90s kid, would have watched, maybe like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Everwood, Felicity, Gilmore Girls, Dawson's Creek, Charmed, those kind of shows. And that was kind of the start of the teen television show.
I watched 90210.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
Yeah, Dad says he liked that too.
And that spun off into Melrose Place, and there was a show called Party of Five. So, yeah, those were teen shows in my time.
Yeah.
But, I can't, of course, remember every episode, but nothing stands out to me where they had, like dating violence or date rape or any topic like that in there.
Sarah Valois Lamb, I think that's how you say that middle name. She studied several of these teen shows, some of the ones I just listed and some of the ones you just listed, and specifically with the ones of today, like entering the 2000s into the 2010s, they all, she found, had themes of like sex, partying, and like being in toxic or abusive relationships. And she says teenagers watching these elements in these teen dramas believe that these sexual behaviors are normal for relationships because of how often it's being shown. So I guess I kind of fell into that in high school. You watch those, like, you know, big romance movies in high school, and you think that's how it's going to go, and that was absolutely not how it went for me, any of those. Love stories and stuff, but it does kind of normalize for me, like, I don't know, some toxic or, like, red flag kind of behaviors that I wouldn't have noticed until, like, now I'm an adult and I look back on some of, you know, my dating experience in high school, and I'm like, why did I ever think that was okay? And it's because I was seeing it, like, in the media, and the big thing for me is just the pressure of, like, the sexual content in these shows has really shifted from, like, 90210 to, like, today, like, Euphoria.
But as an adult, don't you think now that when you watch that I find that we sit there and say, you know, cut him loose.
Yeah, right.
Whereas maybe when you were in high school, even me, when I was in high school, we idealized the romantic portions of the shows that we saw and felt like, you know, because someone said they were sorry, then that was okay. That was romantic if someone apologized, and so we were willing to, and people are willing to overlook maybe those red flags that we knew weren't right. But because they said they were sorry, we overlooked that instead of, you know, getting out of a situation that we shouldn't have been in.
It's an overflooding of this stuff because actually another Ball State student just wrote an article about romance novels, teen romance novels. Her name's Kaylee Phillips Shaw, and she reads these teen romance novels, and I used to read a lot, but I didn't quite get into romance novels. That wasn't my genre. But she found, you know, similar or exact to the themes found in teen television in these novels, and she found that other readers and herself have been impacted by their exposure to these themes, and said, you know, many readers I know or have watched romanticize toxic behavior because they read about it, such as overpossessiveness, stalking, and manipulation, which are common themes. You know, even in TV we see that. The Summer I Turned Pretty, which isn't one I don't think we've watched. No. It's on Amazon. But they've been having problems with the fans, and it's your generic, like, you know, what's the show about? You guessed it, they're having sex, and who's she gonna end up with? And, you know, it's like, I think she's between two brothers one summer, and fans want her to end up with one brother or the other, and depending on which brother you like more, you know, people started putting, like, death threats out there. And Amazon had to release a warning, you know, mass rights. The warning came on the heels of insults hurled at several stars, and even public death threats made at Gavin Castellino, who plays Jeremiah Fisher, one of the two brothers in the show, like, trying to vie for the affections of this girl. And, like, they're actually threatening him because they can't separate his character on the show from his character, or he's a real person. He's not a character, he's a real person, you know?
I think if you grow up seeing that, you think that's the norm. And then you emulate that in your own relationships. Because if no one's telling you that you shouldn't do that, then you think that's what you should do.
Should be doing. Yeah.
Right. So you guys are exposed to a lot more of that than we ever were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, like, every day, all the time, you open your phone and that's what's there. So, yeah, it's a totally different world.
And I don't think it'll ever go backwards.
No, I don't either.
On the media aspect, but we can always bring back family values.
Yep.
Talking to your kids. Be a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
Find ways to do those things and be involved with your kids and set the moral compass for what's going to go on in the world.
Yeah.
I also think it's okay to shelter them while they're young from those things.
Sure.
Plenty of time to grow up and do adult things.
Yep. I can't disagree because you're the one who raised me. So, well, thank you again for talking with me. And I think this was a really good discussion. But thank you all for watching our discussion here. And, you know, if you ever want to talk about this topic, come talk to me because this is what I've been studying all year long. You can ask her. I come home and talk about it all the time. But thank you guys, and thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you guys in class next time.